Welcome to r/Choosingbeggars, where a crazy lady tries to argue that she owns your house. Also, if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I am getting closer and closer to the 1 million mark, and you can help me get there. Our first post is from Anime Slayer Leet. Searching for a photographer for my wedding. Here are my requirements. Must be willing to do the job for free. Must have at least 8 years of experience. Must be at the wedding all the time, no breaks. Bring your own food and drink. I feel like this job posting should be titled, Wanted, Actual Real-Life Human Slave. Our next Reddit post is from college. In search of therapy dog, must be trained, certified, and ideally a chocolate lab. Must be 100% free for an old woman. Jesus says help the elderly. Additionally, the dog must be perfectly behaved, able to calm me down, must pick up items for me as per my bad back, and must also be spayed, neutered, and chipped. Please PM or comment if you have a lead. No mutts accepted. Hey Gertrude, I have a dog that meets your requirements. Come pick him up anytime. 951 Broadway Street, Lowell, Massachusetts. Okay, great, thanks. Headed there now. F you, bastard! You sent me to an effing animal shelter. Blocked instantly. Effing creep. I think this lady's better off without a therapy dog. I kinda get the sense that this is the type of woman who wouldn't walk her dog for 12 hours and then scream at the poor pooch for making a mess on the floor. Our next Reddit post is from Hexam Zexy. That's it. I'm wedding shaming. Shaming a girl I went to high school with. As we all know, the only time people from high school we never talk to anymore ever message us on Facebook is if A, they're part of an MLM and they want you to join them, or B, they want something absolutely ridiculous. A girl from high school messages people in an old group we all hung out with. Super sweet. Hi, how are you? OMG, I miss you. Are you in town? Let's hang out. Messages. I'm immediately like, Turned out she wanted money for her wedding that we weren't even really invited to. Daddy Dearest was willing to pay $10K for the wedding, but no more. The dream wedding she wants will be $25,000. She then decides to ask for her dear old friends she fondly remembers so well to pay for the wedding. On her radar in particular is a friend who is now working as a nurse who clearly makes enough money to help pay. When we refuse, she magically drops off the face of the planet. Go figure. Honestly, I'm surprised she didn't give the classic, give me $15,000, it can be your wedding gift to me. Our next Reddit post is from Kogami. I got this message from my landlord, don't cook meals in the kitchen. Please do not cook a big meal in the kitchen because the smoke alarm went off many times. The kitchen is just to eat and warm food. It does not have the capacity to cook for everyone. Just try to use it in a smart way. Basically, this is a dining area, not for cooking a really big meal like you used to at your old home. Thanks. Followed up by, also, it would be ideal if you would not sleep in the apartment either. Actually, could you just move out entirely and still send me the rent? Thanks. Our next Reddit post is from RaiderGator. Alright, so I have a large, pretty expensive house for sale and it's empty right now. A few weeks ago, my real estate agent calls me asking if I sold the house. I told her clearly she would know as she is the agent. She then tells me that someone is moving in. I get there after calling 911 and there are 2 moving trucks and a locksmith is changing the locks. And my gate is busted down. I get pretty loud and start telling everyone to get off my property. This lady shows up with documents with my forged signature saying she owns the house. I call her several pages of profane names and tell her to get off. About that time, the cops show up. She starts claiming it's a civil matter and they can't arrest her. Luckily, the cops aren't dumb and arrest her anyways. I think, okay, she tried and failed, she will move on to her next scam. Apparently not, as I got this letter delivered to me Monday as a part of a large package of documents. Google the entity at the top of their document and you will get some insight into their mindset. Alright, so this is the full legal document that this crazy lady sent to OP. I've read through the whole thing and it's really dense and hard to get through because it's written in like lawyer speak, but I'm gonna share the most bizarre parts with you. Dear blank, I blank, a Moorish national in full life, then a bunch of numbers, stand on Article 6, the Constitution for the United States. I demand you release my land and home back to me, latitude blank, longitude blank, with the demands. 1. Arrange to have my property moved back into my domicile. 2. Reset all door locks and the gate. 3. Have the yard cut, flower bed and scrubs cut and cleaned, detailed to my liking. 4. Have the pool cleaned. And 5. If any damages to the home or land has occurred, it will be the responsibility of OP et al. To repair. What? So out of curiosity, I did a little bit of investigation about this woman's document. First off, I looked up Article 6 of the Constitution and I was expecting it to be something involving like land rights or property. Nope. Article 6 of the Constitution basically says that the Constitution is the most important legal document and that no other laws should violate the Constitution. So literally what this woman is saying is the Constitution of America is really, really important. Therefore, I own your house? Also, I looked up this group of Moorish nationals, and basically they're a group of people who have basically just decided, hey, I don't like government, so therefore government laws don't apply to me. So in essence, they can just make up their own laws. And in this case, the law is, give me your house, you loser. How can people think this is actually gonna work? Also, I feel obligated to point out that this document is signed with a bloody fingerprint. Our next Reddit post is from Wazboulet. And in this post, OP is talking to someone that he met 2 weeks ago. Can I borrow your car next week? And do you think you could have it all gassed up? Sorry, dude. I need it to get to work. But dude, I already planned a whole week with my girlfriend. And you didn't think to ask to borrow my car beforehand? Just rent one if you have to. Dude, I'm gonna end up using almost all my money on hotels and stuff over the week. I just need it for a week. And I need it so I can make money over the week? F you, greedy grunt. I mean, I was gonna recommend a friend I have who has 2 cars and only uses one. I'm sorry, I just snapped. I don't know what came over me. What's the friend's number? I'm not giving it to you now. Effing grunt, rooster sucking greedy jerk. I hope the police find you dead in a ditch. I'm blocking you now. Lol, thanks for the free Reddit karma. Clearly, this guy's trying the wrong approach. He should have gone with, give me my car because of the Constitution. Our next Reddit post is from Willow17. I do not understand why when you want someone to take pictures of you, they insist on payment. I just want a decent picture of me and my child, and I don't want to have to pay someone for it. Now, anyone with an effing camera thinks they have a career, and it's infuriating. I will not pay $75 to take 5 pictures of me and my child. I won't. That's ridiculous. Our next post is from Aftershock416. Roughly a week ago, I was involved in one of the most ridiculous cases of a choosing beggar I've ever witnessed or read on this sub. The original scene went down in Afrikaans, so excuse me if the phrasing is a bit off. Me and my brother are both working adults and live in a city about a 3-hour drive from the town my parents live in. Our parents were on their way back from a short holiday last weekend, and as it was Mother's Day and it had been a while since we last saw them, my brother and I asked them to make a slight detour on the way back so we could treat my mom to lunch. We don't usually make a big fuss out of Mother's Day, but as my brother and I had missed my mom's birthday 2 weeks prior due to unrelated work obligations, we conspired with my dad to get her a modest gift from each of us as a sort of belated birthday thing. So as we arrive at the restaurant, there were warm greetings and hugs all around, and we hand my mom the relatively small gifts, 2 neatly wrapped and the other in a gift bag. Just to be clear, there wasn't any opening of gifts, tearing the paper, or anything like that. We were all peripherally aware of a child screaming in the background, but as it was a fairly family-friendly restaurant, we didn't pay it any mind. Only the screaming gets ever closer, and soon we find a woman with a screaming and sobbing child who looked to be around 6 or 7 standing at our table. "Excuse me," she demands. "You can't just go around doing this sort of thing in public." Puzzled glances all around, wondering what the heck she was referring to. I share a look at my brother, seeing him mouth what I realized in hindsight was the name Karen. Because man, if she didn't fit the stereotype perfectly, haircut and all. "I'm sorry, what?" my brother asks in genuine bafflement. "Opening gifts in public," she spits in a way that suggests we might as well have been fornicating at the table. "Now he's crying since he didn't get anything." She continues with a vague gesture at the sniffling, slobbering, red-eyed child who looks like he ran afoul of 3 different strains of bronchitis. I was stunned, speechless by the sheer temerity of the woman. But across the table, my dad is visibly winding himself up to give this woman the tongue lashing of the century. Being the peacemaker that she is, my mom intercedes, clearly wishing to prevent the scene my dad or I were likely to cause. As it so happens, she had a small packet of chocolates which they had gotten from the guest house they were staying at in her handbag. So, contrary to what likely anyone else would have done, my mom reaches into the bag and hands the small boy the packet across the table. The tears dry up momentarily and he stares at it, before angrily throwing it to the ground and resuming the sobs. He screams incoherently and gestures at the wrapped gifts which are sitting on the table on the empty seat to my mom's left. "I think you should rather give him one of those," the woman nonchalantly says, and starts reaching across the table to grab one, which, funnily enough, contained a somewhat expensive hand cream my mom likes, and would have been far less useful to a child than the chocolates were, though I wouldn't have put it past him to try eating it. At this point, I grabbed her arm around the wrist to prevent her from grabbing the gift. Definitely not hard enough to bruise, but I thought it would get the point across. It didn't. She rears back and attempts to slap me for daring to lay my hands on a woman. I'm not exactly able to effectively defend myself from a sitting position, so I get up. I'm a pretty big guy at around 6'4" and 240 pounds, and she was a relatively small woman, so I towered over her quite a bit. Contrary to what one so often reads on Reddit, this didn't seem to deter her in the slightest, and she proceeds to attempt to inflict some sort of harm on me with mad flailing, though I was easily able to keep her at arm's length. At this point, the staff get involved and 2 waiters pull the woman, who's screaming and hissing by this point, away from the table. The manager gets involved and there's a lot of screaming and yelling from both the woman and her child. As one might expect, she immediately starts making ridiculous accusations which get absolutely no traction, as there had been about 24 other people who had watched the whole thing go down. She's eventually firmly asked to leave the premises before the police get involved, and we get offered free dessert as compensation. Definitely the first time in my life I see someone act that crazy firsthand. Happy to supply a story after lurking here for ages. Our next Reddit post is from Zeke14, and on this story, the person who made the post received $5,500 in donations from online strangers. Dear town, only Kenny, Blank, and a couple other kind people sent me a donation to help save my daughter. My dog. Mostly complete strangers helped us. What did I do to deserve such disrespect? Are you telling me no one else in the Blank clique could spare an effing dollar or two for our little GoFundMe campaign? Very selfish, non-compassionate people and little town, little minds, sucky character. You all broke my wife's heart and my heart. That's why I unfriended most of you. But, you know, karma is a bee, a 300-pound pissed off Cherokee/Italian bee. One who never forgets those who don't reach out to help, even modestly, in my time of need. Anyone who wants to argue the point with me, contact Lois for my address. But you had better be right with your family and Jesus and have your plot in St. Nicholas Cemetery reserved, because I don't play effing games. And then OP posts a picture of himself trying to look intimidating and failing. That was rSlash/Choosingbeggars, and if I can invoke Choosingbeggars for a moment, I demand that you hit that subscribe button. I work hard on these videos and I deserve a gold play button. So subscribe to my channel or I'm calling the police.